if we look at the root cause of osteoporosis or osteopenia, a lot of it has to do with our hormones. In men, it has to do with a decrease in testosterone. In women, it has to do with the sharp decrease in estrogen. We know that CBD can help to balance and regulate hormones. We've discussed this in previous podcasts that me and you have done. So from my point of view, yes, if we can support healthy hormonal function, in turn, shouldn't we be able to possibly prevent or offset or slow down the progression of osteoporosis or osteopenia? Logically, the answer would be yes, in my opinion. The answer would be yes. Now, the cause of osteoporosis or osteopenia has to be considered too. Again, it can happen with aging. It can happen with other autoimmune disorders, other metabolic disorders. It can happen from repeat chemotherapy and radiation therapies, which we know CBD has been shown to help with that too. So from a bunch of different angles, I think depending on why you were diagnosed, where you currently stand, and again, your lifestyle, CBD might help. Let me give you an example. So one of the biggest risk factors for osteoporosis or osteopenia is tobacco usage. Nicotine, smoking tobacco, it actually ruins the blood vessels in your bones. So it decreases their ability to release the nutrients that your bones need to grow and heal. That's why a surgeon usually won't do surgery on someone who's a smoker, because their healing process is so much less likely. Now, if we use CBD oil to help us quit smoking or quit using tobacco, we're already improving our bone density. And then on top of it, we're going to get the added effect of the balancing the hormones and some of this other stuff I'm going to dive into when we switch over to fractures and the study on fractures. So the answer is yes. I think there's potential for prevention. And I think down the line, I cannot legally say for treatment, but I wouldn't be surprised if down the line we see claims about CBD for the prevention and potentially treatment of these conditions. What we have to consider, and where I'll preface it, is when you fall and you break a bone, there's a few things that have to happen. So the bone breaks, your body's going to send blood to the area. It's going to start to form a callus, a hard structure over where that break is. And initially, inflammation is going to occur. And when inflammation initially occurs, this is a good thing because your body's going to send healing properties, healing cells, healing blood flow to that area where the break is. So we break a bone and your body already starts to remodel that area after, day one, okay? So it's important to understand that. Now, when it comes to healing a bone, earlier I mentioned osteoblasts. These are cells in our bones that release an enzyme, and the name of that enzyme is lysyl hydroxylase, okay? Lysyl hydroxylase. This enzyme promotes collagen production. So our bones contain osteoblasts. We know that the endocannabinoid system has an influence on those, and osteoblasts release an enzyme that promotes collagen, which is the protein that we need for our bones to heal. This is important because of the study that I'm about to explain. So a study was carried out in Israel. Israel right now is the area where all of our research is coming from because they don't have the regulations on cannabis that we do here in the United States. In this study, they took rats. So they used rats as the test subject. And let me tell you about this study. They had 18 scientists overseeing the study with 3 different universities. This was a very well done study. So these rats had femur fractures. So this would be representing your hip bone, okay? So these rats had femur fractures. And they separated these rats into 3 groups, A, B, and C. Now, group A, the rats were given an injection containing both THC or CBD. So group A, THC or CBD. Group B, the rats were given an injection of equal parts THC and CBD. Group C, they actually took these osteoblast cells out of the rats and directly infused the cells with THC or CBD to see the direct impact on these cells, okay? So we have rats and we have 3 groups. Group A were given THC or CBD. Group B were given equal parts of both. And Group C was an experiment of injecting CBD and THC directly into the cells. Now, the other thing that they wanted to measure was three parts. Callus formation, okay, part 1. Creation of collagen cross bridges, part 2. And osteoblast cell proliferation, so the function of these osteoblast cells. and they used X-ray imaging to measure the density. They tried to re-break the bones to measure the strength of the bones after treatment. And what they found was pretty astonishing. The answer is, for those who might lose me on the science, CBD was shown to help in all three categories: callus formation, osteoblast proliferation, and increasing bone density, okay? But group A, what they found, these were the rats that received both THC and CBD. I'm going to read this right to you. The callus increased in the rats given CBD or THC compared to placebo. This means stimulation of endocannabinoid receptors, improved bone healing. They said CBD had significantly enhanced both the mechanical and structural properties of the bone. Group B, they found THC seemed to increase maximal force integrity of the bone, so the bone's inability to break. THC seemed to play a big role. CBD also did, not as much as THC. And then lastly, and I think this is the most exciting part of these findings, is group C. These were where they took the osteoblasts, the things that grow our bones, injected them with CBD or THC. What they found was not only did CBD help promote the activity, osteoblast activity, the release of this enzyme that lays down new collagen, but it was in the manner that CBD did it. And this is what I call getting to the root cause. It actually impacted the genetic makeup of that cell, making it release more enzyme to build more collagen. It affected the cell's RNA, which for all intents and purposes, people can think of as DNA. It impacted the genetics of the cell. So this is where I get down to what's the root cause of the problem, right? I hate to hear, oh, you have osteoporosis, you have low bone density. Let's just give you a drug that's going to increase bone density. Well, why? Is it your hormones that are low? Is it a genetic issue that's wrong? And we talk about CBD balancing the human body, balancing the body. And I think this is a prime example. And this is really the first study to show this, to demonstrate something to this level. And this is what I say. If you are planning on maybe taking this for prevention or supporting healthy bone health, I would tell you to monitor other things as well too. So maybe you are a female who's going through menopause and you have hot flashes. I would bet if your hot flashes start to improve, that means that you're taking the right amount for other physiological systems as well too, perhaps bone density. If your anxiety improves, if your sleep improves, that's the easiest way for me to know that a patient is on their way to that sweet spot dosage, which most people probably between 5 and 100 milligrams a day in this case. You can ask your physician to continually monitor. If you change nothing, but you incorporate, let's say, 40 milligrams of CBD a day into your lifestyle, you can ask your physician for those follow-up DEXA scans, and that's a way to monitor how it's working.